Hi, my name is Michelo. I am an entrepreneur and an ecosystem builder, but I think most exciting of all my occupations is that I'm a mother. I've added one more, which I cannot state just for public, reasons, but it's one of the new ventures that I took up in Malawi recently. I would like to say that I'm in an industry that cuts across all sectors. Essentially, what I do as an ecosystem builder or an enterprise support organization is support startup businesses, small to medium enterprises, SMEs, and MSMEs, providing them with business advisory support, mentorship, access to market, and linkages to finance. So ideally, we're able to support entrepreneurs from various industries. But if you had to put it in one breath, I would be what you call an incubator or accelerator of small businesses or startup businesses. Yeah, that's me. My career started when I was quite young, just straight out of high school, and after doing my A levels, I moved back from Kawe, where I did my high school, into Lusaka. Being the kind of person I am, I cannot sit down and do nothing. I found myself volunteering at a not-for-profit organization, which was a sport for development organization. So ideally, I had an opportunity to work in an environment where we're providing social impact support to less privileged communities and individuals. While there, I realized that I was not great at routine work and anything that made me feel like I wasn't contributing or adding value. So I quickly asked the organization if I could take up a role. And I remember my boss at the time saying, there isn't anything that you can do. What do you know? This is someone who's straight out of high school, never worked before. And I just said, look, I don't know anything, but I promise you I can learn and I can bring some sense of value. Then I actually gave him a rundown of the organization. I said, this organization does not have structures. We don't have admin or HR. Everybody does everything. And I feel like people are not being supervised or provided with the right support for them to contribute effectively to the organization. So I would like to take up a role of admin assistant. And he was like, okay, write your own job description. Let me know how much you want to get paid and we'll do it. So I went and Googled it and said, what do admin assistants do? So I Googled the whole portfolio, added a bit of HR to it, went back to him with a proposal, and I got the job and got my first salary. But I was so young and naive that I didn't realize I actually underpaid myself because I gave him the lowest salary, and my bargaining power was that I don't have experience and I need to give him a rate that he will not say no to. He said yes fast, and that made me question why. So I went and just asked a few people, and I actually found out that I was being given just change basically. But I didn't mind because I really wanted to add value, and I wanted to validate my being there and my experience. And so I felt that I was there to learn more than to gain a salary. Fast forward into the years, 6 years after being with that organization, I transitioned and went and worked for other organizations. And it was at that point when I decided to study project management, purely because of the environment I was in. And I wanted to gain skills to be able to deliver better. I wanted to be a lawyer initially, but that I found out that I wasn't actually very passionate about that. And I went on to work for various organizations, started a few ventures of my own. I started an organization called Kanza, which is Cancer in Zambia, fundraising for causes towards cancer and early detection. And that went on very well until, guys, have an NDA, have an agreement in place before you pass on your ideas. I passed on my ideas to very, very senior people in government, and they literally 2 weeks after signing with them, announced, and the announcement didn't have my name anywhere written. And that was my project stolen from me. And, it gutted me, but also made me realize that sometimes we're too trusting and willing to give our IP or our ideas to people so willingly. So that also helped me, especially in my work today, and helping startup businesses or any business in particular to make sure that they also protect themselves against any intellectual property theft. So I think coming to where I am now, being the founder and CEO for Jacaranda Hub, it's really been all those pieces, or what you'd call pockets of experiences that I've gotten. One thing that I remember very vividly when I was coming up in my career is that I was one person that always wanted to be led. Led in the sense that I had this attitude of learning, like learning never stops. And I kept asking questions, but more so, I just told myself, whichever workspace or environment I occupy, I am going to be absolutely amazing. I will make it difficult for anyone to fire me. So even after leaving those organizations, I still maintained very good relationships, and those are relationships that actually helped me even as I was, setting up my own organization. Some of them actually contributed money, time, and supported me, spoke about my work, opened doors for me because of the relationships that I cultivated while I was working in those environments. One of the things that I picked up is whenever you get into any occupation or any organization, the minute they give you a contract, start writing your exit strategy and start working backwards. And your exit strategy helps you to not become comfortable and complacent in a work environment, and don't end up being the furniture, but be the person that actually drives change and brings impact to the company, and treat it like it's your own. And I think that mindset helped me with my own organization. And I always say, you cannot lead if you have never been led. It's very difficult. Somehow you still find yourself, going back to being in an environment where you can actually be led. So that has been the journey, not the easiest, but I can promise you that it has been the most fulfilling thing that I've had to do in my whole life. Okay, so 3 guiding principles. Number 1, it's not personal, it is business. We take to heart so many things that we get blinded and block our opportunity to learn and gain some valuable experiences because we want to turn everything into something personal. Even when it's personal, you have to decide what affects you and what you can literally sieve and throw. Keep what's necessary and throw the rest. That has helped me so much because even when I get like, oh, I'll go scream in a corner, come back and keep a straight face and remember that I'm in a professional environment and there's more to gain for me. Then I just reset, and it helps me stay focused, but also it actually builds stronger relationships. And this is something that I see in a lot of young people these days. That emotional intelligence and business etiquette, you have to harness that. Otherwise, you are going to cry. This environment is so hostile that if you take everything to heart, you are literally not going to grow. The second thing is do your best all the time, whether people are looking or not looking. Do your best. Even at your worst time or period, do your best. And I say this with a pinch of salt, especially to my fellow women. Do your best. I think we have used our women empowerment flag to our disadvantage in a way because we've forgotten that we've actually won some fights. I'm someone who does not subscribe to titles of I'm a feminist, I'm this. I have a gender agenda, and that agenda means equal opportunity for both male and female. And if a man can do the job better because they presented themselves, I will give the man the job. If the woman can do it better, I'll give the woman. But what I commit to is creating an environment where women can thrive and where I can help lift more women to seats like this, that like Janice, what you've done. So it's very important that we constantly remind ourselves what we're fighting for and who we're fighting, because sometimes we're fighting systems that are actually enabling us because we feel we're entitled to it because we're women. I think we need to start having a more positive outlook on the gender agenda. Okay, so greatest books. Firstly, disclaimer, I would like to say, I get asked a lot, like, what book are you reading? And when I say I'm not reading any book, a lot of people get shocked. I just don't have the time. And I do more podcasts these days than reading books. So, but when I used to read, one of the first books that I was made to read was Wuthering Heights. And Wuthering Heights was like one of those boring literature books. But you know, when you get told you have to read it and then you have to come and give me a synopsis of what the book is talking about and what you understand, it made me like the book. So even now, I recommend it to even my children. Another book that I recommend, especially for working moms or moms primarily, is Walking Talking Miracle. It's a book that was very, very pivotal in my growing up, because when I started to discover myself, started having all kinds of emotions, that book helped me have some self-belief, build my self-worth, and just gave me confidence. And from that time, I actually walked with my head high, and I called or referred to myself as a miracle. But other than those, most important book, I read Atomic Habits every year in January. That's the one book that I'll always reread every single year, Atomic Habits, because you need to be a person of habit. If you don't have habits or create, meaningful habits, you are going to do things all over the place and you won't be able to hold yourself accountable. So creating habits, setting goals, fulfilling those goals, reminding yourself to go back and redo the things that you haven't done or haven't done well, will just get you moving in life. Another book, of course, The Richest Man in Babylon. If you have not read this book, I don't know what you're doing, because it is one of the greatest books that any person can read. But my favorite book, and I say this with a lot of pride, is the Bible. And I'm saying this, whether you're a Christian or a different religion, you still have to read the Bible. It has so many references on entrepreneurship. If you aspire to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a leader, if you want to understand how to navigate, life and some of the challenges in life, read the Bible. Don't read it to become, radical in your journey as a Christian. Read it because you want to understand how to groom yourself and how to grow and how to mature as a leader. And if you're a CEO, you're running your own company, the Bible will give you so many references that will help you make the right decisions. It's, for me, by far the greatest book that I've ever read. Yeah.